Hello and welcome. This is Dice of Ages, presenting CrestVahllen. This is our third campaign. We're kind of doing a session 0.5 here because we've already been playing this campaign for a couple months now, and all the characters are 5th level, but we wanted to do a little thing for you guys to kind of catch you up on what has happened so far and what is the story so far and everything that you guys have been into. So we're just going to kind of like shoot the shit for a little bit and talk about what had happened. But first, we're going to walk around and introduce the characters that we play. I think I want you to introduce your first character because you start off as your first character for this one. Okay, so yes, I have the distinct pleasure of having at the table Adam.
I'm Adam. I play Bastien Paulsavon. I am a elf warlock, and nobody likes me.
Hey man, what are we doing here?
I'm super suspicious.
Come on, what are we? Come on,
Be suspicious.
I thought we were chilling. I thought it was me and you.
I love how Dan has completely adopted to the podcast type of talking, where he just keeps his head in one spot and just makes sure his mouth is always right next to the the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm being good at my job.
I'm sorry, I'm a pro at this.
Fantastic. I'm actually going to turn your bass down just a little bit. There we go. That's good. All right. Go ahead.
I am Theo, and in this part of the campaign, I play Zephyr Lennox, and he is a tiefling sorcerer, and he is traumatized. That's all.
Accurate.
Yeah, accurate.
Hi there, my name's Rhiannon. I play Meveroon Aurielor. Everyone calls her Maeve. Longbow fashionista. Actually a fighter, but she mostly just shoots things with a bow, and she's fabulous.
High elf.
Well, yeah, she's a high elf.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You didn't say that, I don't think. Did you? Did you say elf?
I thought it was implied by saying she's fabulous.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, your turn.
Hi, I'm Malik. I'm playing Len Elisula. He's a Monster Slayer Ranger and a half-elf, and I think everybody hates me too.
Oh, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing?
What the hell?
I don't hate
That's
them.
not
really
what this
good
is built
friends.
upon, I swear. This is not. It's love, not hate.
I like everyone here, so this is fucked up.
Well, Len, not me. Everyone loves me.
Hi.
Okay, go ahead.
Zephyr.
Hi, I'm Alex. I play Osfer Goodmeadow, a halfling monk, Way of the Kensei. I guess we've all been recapping our characters in a word, so easygoing.
Nice. I mean, you're right.
You're right.
Hi, I'm Dan. I play Stirnashana. I'm a Kalashtar druid, Circle of the Stars. Really,
Kalashtar, right? I don't know. You
Yeah,
pronounce it however you want to.
I don't
pronounce
know.
it. Yeah.
I basically just look like a human, but I'm really just like a 50-year-old, like middle-aged, like
Dad bod man.
dad bod man, very like Nordic kind of vibes, Ukrainian accent, not Russian. Yeah, I'm really just I'm just the papa of the group. I'm just the dad.
Eats raw meat,
Yeah, and I eat just an insane amount of raw meat.
not sushi grade.
I'm gonna shut down the OneDrive here. Okay, and I'm your not so humble dungeon master, TJ. I will be your guide through this wonderful world of the continent of CrestVahllen in the world of Vontiria. And we started this campaign in the southwestern region of CrestVahllen, known as the Shalian Cradle, a massive, swarthing and sprawling forests and tropics that have result in a massive number of different types of biomes, all with some sort of verdant paraphernalia among them. But we started, I believe, in Balmoral, a small town to the south, on one of the southeastern portions of the Shalian Cradle, a kind of a town of outcasts. You guys but our story begins in a particular realm of this world, a land of infinite dangers, blah, blah, blah. We don't have to go that. We don't have to do that. From what I remember, you guys all at some point ended up within, like, the first 24 hours, or Len, I think you come in a little later. Within like the first 24 hours of Ish,
Cocoa bananas.
meeting at Cocoa Bananas.
It all started in a tavern.
It all started in a tavern.
Of course. Where else would it
Some of
start?
you were wandering around.
Outdoor tiki
Stern,
bar.
you had been in this town already for a few weeks, if not a few months.
I think it was a couple of months.
It was a couple months. Yeah, you
had a
had
house.
you're originally from like way off on the exact opposite side of the
Oh
continent.
no, I was in the Ice Age,
Yeah.
baby. That's where I was
So
at.
you're from the far northeast, so you're thousands and
Yeah.
thousands of miles away from you were, but something happened, you got transported here, and you found this city. Well, you found this little town among the brush, and are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
It got in the dice tray.
That's only on the dice tray.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just try to get it off there as fast as you can, so before it soaks into the wood.
And the foam.
And the leather.
Oh, that's not foam. Oh, okay.
It's so nice.
I made these dice trays all from scratch.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I do burn art on them when you guys have like, when the other party has character development or like milestones and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, you had been here already for a couple months. You and Gene were kind of good buddies.
Good old Gene,
Oh, I miss Jean.
my man.
So from what I have here, you guys went. All of you ended up. You were sent from the sea at some point. You went up the edge of the Shailene Cradle is this large cliffside. Think of some of like the very very tall Irish cliffsides that kind of just the waves just crash up against it. It's just a sheer down, except it's hundreds of feet tall. And so like there's really no way it's geographically protected from almost all angles. It's really really hard to get into the Shailene Cradle because there's hills and mountains around it, and also this seaside coastal cliffside. So, but somehow he ended up here, went up the river, found this town. So there's Bast here. We have Zephyr here that kind of found his way here as well. Maeve, you had been traversing the Shailene Cradle for a couple weeks
Yes.
already. You had come down from the north
After several years of traveling.
after several years of traveling from your home. And you guys all meet up in this tavern where Toffel, this kind of bully guy, wants to start a fight. Stern, you fight him a little bit.
I kind of like step in. And I'm like, hey, what are we doing here? And then he tries to beat me up, and I'm trying to like link into his mind, and he's like, stop, and then he beats me up some more.
Yeah, some of you just watch it happen while others try to intervene.
Yes.
Eventually, you knock him out and find that there's like ichor on his head. It's really weird, like under his skull cap.
That was Oscar.
Yeah,
Oscar
yeah,
was not about to see an old man get beat up at a bar.
yeah.
I'm like 50.
Oh yeah, we're like the same age. Halfling's age difference.
Except you're like a teenager or like a 20-year-old. So you knock him out, and
That was when Stern and I became friends.
and then I believe you take him to the.
No, he got back up.
He got back up, and
The infection like reanimated.
Bast,
right.
you cut his arm off. with a-
We were trying to put him back down when when Coco came in. She grabbed her like axe or something, and she was going to go after him.
Yeah.
And he swung on her, so I Eldritch Blast his arm off.
Yeah, you Eldritch blasted his arm off.
And
Right, that's
he
where
fell
the
back.
arm came from.
Yeah,
we
yep.
still have that arm.
I didn't know that.
We do still have that.
It took me some time to
Decomposing
figure out
arm.
already.
Yeah,
So
that's one.
That's
of
where the
things.
arm came from.
I never asked. I just kind of accepted that we just had an arm. I was like, okay.
So that's the arm.
Cool.
It's Toffel's arm.
Rad.
Why do we still have it?
But that
For fun.
trauma managed to stop him. And we got him. Coco ended up taking him to the village leader, the Sorna.
Yes. Yes, you had a conversation with the Sorna. Sorna, I believe her name is. I don't have it up. I should.
Talandal
Tom Talat?
Tarot.
No. That's
Talandal Tarot.
Her name is Talandal Tara. You got it. And so,
Sometimes my notes are good. Sometimes my notes are crap.
and you guys learned about like corruption that's happening around the area, and that kind of like similarities between what's happening with Toffel and that type of corruption. The next day, you do some chimney sweeping with Jean, and trying to get some what's the word I'm looking for? Like errands in order to help pay for all of your stays. You kind of all like did this thing together, so you kind of like have
I
this
was just
very
paying
loose-
for drinks.
Yeah, you're just paying for drinks, and
place
like
runs on
and
a
some of
barter
you
system.
helped. You killed a mother rat in the basement of an inn. That was like my brother.
Traumatized.
You robbed them of their mother.
They'll never be able to live out a full life.
We felt really bad.
For old time's sake, what was Jean's voice?
Oh yeah.
yeah.
We are never going to hear that voice again.
We might not ever hear it again. Yeah.
Hey, it's Gene or some shit like that.
The Gene Tank!
Oh, Jade, I'm Jade.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I'm
That's
a Gene.
exactly it.
Close.
I'm going into the chimney to help you out. Some shit like
Beautiful singing
that.
voice.
I don't know. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Think about it every
Oh,
day.
kiss this man.
So
Oh,
anyway,
lips.
you had to do some errands. So you killed the mama rat in order to gain because like, there's no money here, so it's just like a barter system. So they had you do an errand so you could stay the night, and so then you guys, when you head back to the sauna, this hunter kind of comes in, like kind of looks like he has some ichor on him or some shit, and he's like looks super exhausted, and he's like, "There's more corruption in the hunting grounds," and he just collapses, and you guys will, oh shit, and you head there the next day, and you head through the woods, over the river, and through the woods literally, and you meet this like deer whose mouth has like descended down its spine, and like its whole front part of its neck and torso just kind of open up in this almost like mimic style, like and ichor
like
slipping out of it.
Gluttony from Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, kind of like gluttony, yeah.
It's
And then
gnarly.
so the whole body just kind of opens up in this big mouth, and you fight and you kill it.
Isn't that the first time that you end up setting half the forest on fire?
Yeah.
I think it was like
Yeah.
trees.
It was 2 trees.
I was just
Not half the forest.
I was just losing my mind. I'm just like, no, please God. And then I set the force on
What
fire
you did
later.
notice is that
Yeah.
every time you hit it with like force damage, a part of that like ichor form kind of squirted off and became this little like fully ichor resin like hand that had like an eye in the center or like a mouth in the center and went. Yes. Yeah, you got it. I got you.
Yeah, so I was not using magic missile, so I was using firebolt.
And I
course.
could use Eldritch Blast.
And when we learned
Level
things
1
were flammable in the
Warlock
forest.
who
Yeah.
uses only
Who'd have thunk?
Top.
So I forced creativity upon my players, so sue me.
And then everyone got mad at me for setting a forest.
I think it was just me because I'm just like,
Because you're
Got
Druid.
mad at you
We
for
figured
missing.
it out.
you know, it's my thing.
But you
Okay.
guys eventually figured out you lay waste to the creature and do your best to like burn the remnants and get rid of it. You then head back to
No, we noticed its tracks.
Right, you noticed
it
its
had
tracks.
ichor in its tracks, and we followed that deeper into the woods.
That's true. You follow that deeper into the woods and eventually come across a mine. In the mine, you find looks like someone of means had set up a camp there, in which you found a very well orchestrated map, a very well articulated map of the area of the Shaling Cradle. So you had a wonderful region map, and then you decided to delve a little deeper. Unfortunately, Osfer, I believe, got lost.
Trying to look for the map, got lost. Hubris.
Trying to look for a map, got lost. It looks
shit.
like another one of
King
these
shit.
black resin like creatures without form was like and up on the ceiling and almost devoured you, and you ran
it was
fuck,
not
fuck,
fun.
fuck, 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 and you ran away.
I ran the wrong way.
You ran the wrong way. Eventually got lost again.
Yeah.
Eventually, you guys all meet back up. You delve deeper down into the mine. You find yourselves at this crossing that is very,
Oh,
very,
that was-
very.
Yes.
narrow
That was
stone
scary.
bridge.
The narrow stone
not
bridge
fun.
that's like naturally forming with a bunch of stalactites and everything, and just goes down into vast darkness, and a bunch of dark mantles, these kind of bat-like, squid-like creatures that almost look like stalactites, cast darkness on you and make most of you blind, except for the one of you that can see through magical darkness. On this very narrow bridge, some of them actually latch onto your heads, and you have to follow. And the whole reason why you're down here is to follow these tracks to see if you can exterminate a little bit more of the whatever this corruption, this Icarus corruption is. And not a fun battle, especially when there's like gusts that come off and try to push you off. So
No, not fun.
I believe one or
sucks.
two of you almost fell off, but were grabbed by your compatriots and pulled back up.
No, I was one of them.
You eventually do defeat the Dark Mantles, especially with the help of your familiar, Kasiksi, who's the kind of this like gulper eel like
No,
snake
I didn't
serpent
get
thing.
him until-
Oh yeah, you didn't get him yet. That's right.
Yeah.
But you move on. Eventually, you find that there's a bit of hole in the floor a little bit further on. Once you reach solid ground, and you peek down on the floor, and it looks like a old ancient chamber that has not been opened for a very, very, very long time. remind me. I believe there were bones here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There
Lots
was
of
elven bones everywhere, and Maeve was absolutely mortified, traumatized, and enraged.
Yes.
Yeah, 'cause
Mortified,
they were
traumatized,
like
and raged.
high elven.
Uncounted number of just like
Yeah, they're all like kind of shoved to like the corners of the room in this like large
Elves
squared
were
stone
the
room,
bones.
and the stone was so ancient, but you guys got an idea that it was some sort of ancient elven ruins. There was a magic circle, or at least like some sort of runic circle, in the center of the room, and there was like almost this like cyst-like tumor undulating on one of the perimeter of the circle, and it looks like that part of the circle had like a big old crack in it, and the runes were like degrading. Eventually, you guys fiddled with it, or something happened, and it burst. And what came out of it, or at least like it gave birth to this like resinous Icarus humanoid creature that shot psychic like ichor at you and fucked you up, and more of those little hands spawned, and that was a very, very difficult battle.
Opened a portal to some other dimension, dealt a bunch of cold damage.
I think that
Something
was the
like
first
that.
time I took any damage, and I took a lot of damage, and I kind of was like, oh yeah, I'm the fighter. I'm not like just ranged.
Yeah, and I think you guys were realizing, oh shit, more might keep coming through. We're not going to beat this battle until we like close up whatever is like this circle was here for a reason. It was meaning to, you like figured it out through Arcana checks and insight checks that it was meaning to contain something, and the containment was so degraded that it was starting to weaken. And so at first I think you made the crack bigger, and you were like, oh wait, that doesn't work, and then you like stuck the bone into it and like sanded it down and like fused it in there
no,
too.
I
No, so
cut myself and
I figured
Cut
out
yourself
that
away.
it was elf blood
Yep.
Right.
that was used to make the
it
runes.
filled in all of the
So
runes.
you filled in the rune.
Yep. We like closed the hole with the elf bone, and
Yeah.
then I smeared blood to like reconnect the
Kind of, yeah, acting as
the
like
circles
plaster
and
for
runes
it.
and things.
Yeah.
Wasn't the language like a mix of like elven and draconic?
It was
Yeah,
like-
it was like an ancient elven and draconic mixture.
Yeah.
Like it was like, so because like the language of the arcane is a dialect of like draconic, but nobody really calls it that anymore because dragons were never real, right? Why would you call draconic? But it is still called draconic, and so it was a mixture of like ancient arcane language and elven, which you kind of figured out was like draconic and elven put together, which is wild and very, very, very powerful. So you guys were able to use the elven blood to close it up and eventually defeat the creature. And you were like, "Whew, okay, we're done here." And you guys leave the mine and you head back to Balmoral. Along the way, you find a couple bit more.
That
of
was
the-
when you got
Yeah.
Kasiksi. Yeah.
The night after that battle was when I got
Yeah.
Woke up with a scarf.
Your patron endowed you
sent
with
me this creature to keep an eye on.
to keep an eye on you, but also help you. That it has its own free will, but takes your recommendations seriously.
Yep.
That can hypnotize creatures, kind of like an anglerfish, gulper eel, like sea serpent kind of combo thing that just swims through the air as though it were water, and it can be like kind of phantasmal at the same time. But it also sometimes is just a scarf around your neck. Cool.
Has a thing for possessed jewelry.
Back to Balmoral,
Back to Balmoral.
where the Sorna told us the only person anywhere close to here that might know about this
Is the Bezer Annular, or
is
was
the
last
Wheeled Weaver.
the Wheeled Weaver, who was last seen in the Bezer Annular. Who knows how many years ago? That's a little bit to the northwest here, not too far. The
So,
curfew is lifted now
saw
that the
her.
threat is gone,
Yep.
and you guys set out the next morning. Edda, the
Oh yeah.
Blacksmith.
the blacksmith, helps outfit you, and I believe flirts with you a little bit, Osfer.
Yeah, I'm not here to break any hearts. Let it in.
He just says it's a matter.
Oh,
of
I forgot. I'm in their will. I'm not coming back there ever. They need to take me out of their will.
Right.
The blacksmith.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in their will.
Yeah, they need to take
Yeah,
me out of their
I have to
will. I'm not
ride a
coming
will.
back there. I'm not gonna know. How am I supposed to know?
Osfer needed weapons,
Yeah.
so he offered up like
I
his
brewed a bunch of wine.
scribing skills, essentially.
Yeah.
to-
Oh, right. Because
to
a
write
bunch of
the
people like
blacksmith's will.
there's not everybody here is very literate. So yeah, you offer up your scribing skills to give some people a last will and testament, or at least a living will.
Just trying to help out.
Yeah. You eventually, on the third day of travel to the Bezer Annular, come across an eerie set of ruins, and Kasiksi alerts you to the movement within.
Before we left, though, the
Yes.
Sorna said that we could potentially appease the forest spirits by giving it an offering, So we took Toffel's arm that I had blown off, and the Sorna gave us a sack made out of human flesh
Yeah.
to carry it in.
Yep.
Good old
that's-
skin bag.
Yeah,
why
good
we
old
have
skin
that.
bag.
And we have been toting that thing around
That's true. So
for the last month.
like kind of, I think the default name for the group was the skin bags for a little bit, or,
Yeah.
or at least the Discord group, no skin off my bag. So it was a little ridiculous. So eventually you come across these ruins, and you see some sort of wolf humanoid digging through a fallen rose window, like the stone remains of a rose window, and they are alerted to your presence. You try to like be amiable to them, and they're like "fuck thou," and a bunch of gnolls and humans and this wolf humanoid fight, and it's a tough battle. And the wolf humanoid realize how resistant they are to damage. After defeating them, however, they seem to be like almost mad a little bit. After the diplomacy was rejected, you fight for a bit. But during the battle, Osfer and Bast are bitten by this creature and contract a curse. Contract an infection / curse. It's kind of like both. And you have no idea how to cure such an ailment, but you decide to put it out of your minds until you can ask the sage advice of possibly the Wheeled Weaver. What you do find is the relic where they're digging some sort of relic that's unearthed that's housing a very alien-looking idol that Bast is immediately entranced by and tries to let Kasiksi eat, and all of you are like, no! And like playing football and keep away with this guy. And Kasiksi is really intent on eating it, and you have since then done your best to keep that thing away from Bast at all costs. Stern believes that the object seems to be tied to something terrible and frightening, but no one can figure out an outright way to destroy it. Because once you realized it was dangerous, you tried to destroy it, and it just was impervious to everything you tried to do to it. But you head further along your original path. And
And didn't we just carry it around on the end of a stick for a while?
Yeah, like a
bundle.
like a bundle, like a bangle, yeah.
You guys were saying that Bast was shady, but like that's the only shady thing I've ever seen.
That's true.
Everything else, I mean, other than coming out strong with like cutting Toffel's arm off, but that's more of like you
We're
don't
also
mess with the
about
bar
to get
that
to
I'm
the part
performing
where we
in.
beat up a kid.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
rest that evening in like a very kind of like a spherical thicket, very like how Groot made that sphere, and of like bramble and not bramble but like twigs and vines and stuff. And you guys were resting there and get woken up in the middle of the night by a wood elven child-ish, like teenager. Who I guess is a child. It's whatever. Like think relatively like a 12-year-old in whatever wood elfin year. So I guess 120.
So 120-year-old.
120-year-old child,
Yes.
Upside down from the thing, snagging the bindle
Yes.
that has the thing in it, and gets the fuck out of here while you guys are casting spells and being like, no, child, fuck you, child.
Speak for yourself. Maeve opts for diplomacy,
Yes.
and she's like, please.
I think I was just trying.
I don't want to
catch up.
hurt you.
Yeah.
While everyone else is just attacking.
Oscar and I were
Some of you went
Very much wanted to subdue the threat, but
Some
where
of
I was
you-
coming from was the last time we saw someone who looked exactly like that was a werewolf. So I was like, it's another werewolf trying to jack our
when
stuff.
the werewolf was defeated, once killed, they kind of reverted back into like a wood elf.
Yeah, and I took that dagger. That was nice.
So you chase and try to subdue this child, boom, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, and through the
Maeve
forest.
always tries to talk first.
Yes,
Yeah.
Maeve does always try to do
It
diplomacy.
works.
I don't want
to
to
her
hurt
turtle
anyone.
credit.
I shot many arrows at that
Oscar and
child.
I think,
I shot many arrows at that child.
yeah.
We were not trying to kill the child,
No.
just trying to stop the
Capture.
child.
So you
Yeah.
quickly
We're just
retrieve
trying
the
to knock
statue
the
before,
child unconscious.
and then you quickly retrieve the
Remove
statue, and
consciousness
then
from the
you
child.
heal the girl, beginning the very uncomfortable conversation. A few pieces of information quickly come to light. Firstly, the young elf is the daughter of the Wheeled Weaver,
Yep.
and the sage that they've
Would've
been
been
seeking. And secondly, the
pretty
youngster was under the impression that she was retrieving stolen property.
Right.
The idol had been in the protection of their people until it had gone missing, and she was tasked with tracking it down. After a mostly unsuccessful negotiation, Spira, who is the name of the young girl, finally agrees to escort the party back to her mother, though only Maeve would actually be allowed into the copse, which is kind of what they call this like a gathering of somewhat leaders or powerful officials within like this kind of like, I don't want to say fey court because it's not like that, but just like kind of like a nature court, as it were.
Local council.
Local council, yeah. Maeve, you successfully convince the Fey community that you mean no harm, and you persuade the Wheel Weaver to speak with the collected group, unveiling a history of more unknowns. You learn of the corruption that they battled days ago was also here deeper in the forest, corrupting others. Darkor, the elder priest of Malor, or like the leader of the werewolves that you find out, the Beast Lord had tried to search, the Malor, the Beast Lord, had tried to search out the statue when it first disappeared for the protection. Though unknown means, he had also been corrupted through unknown means. Though it seems that before he fell completely to the fetish's sway, he had been one to hide the long death, which is what they call this idol and this fetish. They call it the long death in the ruins. After completing this task, however, it seems that he and the rest of his pack fell into an odd corruption of inconclusive origins. What is known is that many in and around the copse have become infected, including the golem-like guardians, these massive stone and wood guardians that kind of house the souls and the consciousnesses, or powered by them at least, of old leaders of either the Fae or nature or Dryad, or people that have like protected this area for a long, long time. And so their souls are like, as one of the passing of the rites, they dedicate their eternal soul once they pass to being the protection of like these golems, these giant guardians. Their cores, called taps, have turned the same sickly black, and they have become like berserkers, carving a destructive path through the area. In an effort to grow trust between the two groups, the Wheeled Weaver has tasked you guys with stopping one of the guardians nearby.
You could call them bad cops.
You call them bad cops, right? So things come to light later. You follow Spira through the forest to try to find their target. You guys were looking for like most of the communities here are nomadic. And they move around a lot. So you're trying to find one of the nomadic groups, the tracks that had been being harassed by one of these guardians, or these corrupted guardians. Eventually, you run into a wall of foliage that blocks off the entire region of the forest, and you kind of get the idea that this is like the nature itself, or the forest itself, having like a consciousness and telling you, "Hey, you're not allowed to go this way. Go around." And some of you try to force your way through, and nature doesn't like that, and they kind of like think of like the spirit of Gaia just being like no and pushing you back out. Wasn't a good experience because Sixi made it through and he didn't like it.
He almost got brambled to death.
But eventually you guys do go around. Maeve and Stern have a little bit of conversation with it, and nature's like, oh, hey, and it gives you like an apple and a couple things like, it's okay, just go this way instead. So it's kind of like, I don't want to say benevolent, but just kind of like neutral, kind of like the spirit of the forest and nature of consciousness itself has kind of taken form here, which is wild. You guys have never seen this anywhere else.
We kind of skipped over it. Len joined
I
us.
was going to say,
true.
At what point,
I'm sorry.
I remember him guiding us through
Back
the
in
forest a
Balmoral.
lot.
No, wait.
No, it wasn't in Balmoral.
It was. Yes, it
Yeah, it was.
Was it?
When we went back
Yeah.
to the Sorna,
Yeah.
Oh, right. When you
After
back
the mine.
after you came back from the
When
mine.
did you join?
It was
When you came back from the mine, you were already there with the Sorna,
Yes.
having a conversation, meditating with her.
and when we told
Yeah,
her
that's
what had
what
happened in the mine, he asked to join us to
Yeah.
try and figure out what was going on.
Yes.
Some really bad
and,
survival checks, and Len is like, I got shit.
and Len is a ranger, so he's just like, guys, this way.
I honestly
oh,
think
and
you
I
weren't
also-
with us the whole time.
I also saw him doing some shady stuff at the in the
ruins.
in the
when
ruins.
you were fighting the gnolls and the humans, you saw him like take one of the nearly dead or almost dead, dying bodies of one of the humans and just straight up and like start to devour pieces of them and like suck
a
their
fun
blood
noise.
and shit.
And I was like, hey, we all have like our favorite foods and our guilty pleasures. It's fine. Man. It's all good.
Yeah.
I understand.
You
He was
kept it
eating
under
raw
wraps for a
meat.
while.
I eat raw deer like all the time. I get it.
So yes, so the group of you make it past this wall of nature. It's time to protect whatever that area was. You awaken the next day and you find what looks like some sort of like ruins. As you've been traveling through here, you have come across quite a few times some ancient elven ruins that are just like the remnants of who knows what type of civilization within the cradle. You find this, and you guys find that there are evidence of a nomadic tribe of wood elves probably setting down here at one point. But you are ambushed by you find some like some cordon of woods things here, and you're like, okay, and then Spear's like, okay, this is a sign, this is a signal, this is like, a secret message to see where they went last in case anybody ever gets left behind from danger. But you are ambushed by these like displacer beasts, but they're not displacer beasts, they're made out of like root systems, so they're like root displacers, and you fight with them, and that's a difficult battle.
These guys were not fun.
Yeah.
That sucked.
Very.
They seem to be almost invisible, and some of you do fall, but you do survive. You find this dowsing rod
got knocked down pretty hard.
buried in this area, and use it to like kind of like douse the location of where the nomadic community may have gone. You scale. It's hard to find even with Len's help. Sometimes you get a little lost, but eventually you find yourself on a large outcropping of rock to get a better look at what's going on, and you see one of the corrupted guardians meandering through the brush now that you're above the tree line, and you're like, oh shit, we're not in the position to fight this thing. So you take a nap on top of the rock.
Well, we noticed it was like walking in circles, so it wasn't really like urgent.
Yeah, and you heard like howls,
the werewolves,
like from different directions too, and it seemed to have been like following the howls, and it seemed to have been like leaving it in a circle to like keep just going on and on and on endlessly in a circle, almost like they were keeping it distracted. Yeah. You gather yourself, and
the next morning, and we attack it.
You do, yeah.
No,
you
that's
attack.
Well, we try to talk to it, but we don't even get that
That's
far.
later.
You don't get that
Before
far
it
as it
starts
You
flinging
buy them.
boulders.
flinging boulders at you. It looks like it's in it. It also sounds like it's in a lot of pain at the same time. So you
didn't it
do
ask
it.
us to like kill it? Right?
When Maeve
Ye-
did try to talk to
Yeah.
it, I'm pretty sure it said like "kill me." Or,
Yeah, it was like the pain is too great. Like
gnarly.
either run or kill me. So you eventually focus some attacks on like the seed of Ichor. That's like it's got a bunch of menhirs that are on its back, like in a ring, and like within those circle of menhirs is this like kind of like seed of pulsing Ichor that's kind of spiderwebbed to all of them inside of the menhirs. So some of you try to focus your attacks in there. Eventually, do attack it and shut it down and destroy it, leaving its form mostly cohered, like together, but the seed the spirit is gone.
I always imagine those Ichors as like
It fucked you up though,
like
quite a bit.
the parasite from Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like
Venom.
Venom, where it's trying
the
to like
symbiote.
claw it off. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of. Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
the texture that I'm thinking of when I think about that.
Yeah,
So
but
you barely survived this.
two harrowing battles right in a row. We were
Yeah. So you barely survived that, and then you head back to the outcropping to rest.
we are
Chased by the
Chased.
werewolves.
by the wolves.
You are, as
back
they
to
kind
the outcropping.
they kind of all appeared there, and they're like, who are these interlopers? And they kind of chase you back to the outcropping, and then Kragal, or this humanoid, this almost naked humanoid man, very, very cut, comes up on top of the outcropping and talks to you, Maeve, and Maeve's like, yes?
Maeve's like, oh, that cute guy. I'm just gonna. Wolf boy.
Recognizes Osfer and Bast as part of the pack, quote, quote, and asks them to follow them and allows the rest of you to do so as well, but only
Ask
you
is
guys...
a strong way of putting it.
Yeah,
isn't
yes, yes.
You will come.
Isn't this
yeah,
also
you
when
will
we
come.
parted ways with Spira?
Yeah.
Yes,
Spear
Spear...
was. very
She
much-
followed us back
oh, yeah.
to their.
She followed
Yeah.
like
Their version
you
of the
went back
cops.
into the woods and like to where
firefighters.
they're like so the cops' sanctuary or what it was is like some sort of like glade, like some sort of fey glade that once you are given permission to
plane.
enter,
You forever have
you have
permission.
forever permission to enter, and like so there's a bunch of these all over the place, and this certain particular pack of the ridden or what like the packs of werewolves are called. Was given permission to Osfer and Bast to enter so they can discuss, while the rest of you are left outside. And eventually Spira's like, okay, I'm going to go. We've done everything we can do here. I'm gonna go
No.
back
So
home.
we found out from Kragal
Yes.
that they thought the elves were the ones spreading
That's true.
the corruption,
Yeah.
while the elves think that they're the ones spreading the corruption.
Right.
So we told Spira not everything is what you think it is. And we sent her back to her mother to tell her what we figured out.
Maeve was really upset because Spiro was my friend, and I gave her one of my skirts and had this whole heartfelt goodbye. Meanwhile, the rest of these
I didn't want to put a child in danger.
One of those half cookies.
She saved our butts
Oh,
like
sorry.
so many times, though.
Yes, but if she died,
Came in clutch. Yeah.
her
Yeah,
mother
she had
would
healing
We almost
magic.
already killed her once. Let's not let her die.
What do you need? Outlet?
her mother would have ended us.
What?
Yeah, I remember I showed them the werewolf
You don't have to
thing
do that.
dagger from the first werewolf
Yep.
we killed, and they were like, "Well,
Oh, yeah.
they didn't believe that
The one that
they,
bit us
it
was
bit
a
us on
traitor.
purpose." Yeah,
Yeah, they were like, it's like one of the biggest taboos of
Yeah.
our community to, against someone's consent, like
yeah.
bite somebody and infect them. So they were like, this can't be, and which like makes them think, oh shit, maybe they were corrupted, like the things that you were saying. And they said, we don't have the power to heal you.
They were also like not. They were in disbelief that this werewolf was working with like gnolls and humans. Mm-hmm. They were like, "That's not what we do. What's going on here?"
Yeah, so nothing really made sense. Like everything was really weird. Behavior is very abnormal. So eventually they come to a consensus that they will help you.
We need to go see if we can find their leader, Darkor.
Darkor, and they said that we don't really know where Darkor is, but the person that might know is one of the like great guardians that like is very in tune with the consciousness of the Shailian cradle and the forest and of nature, like kind of like a bit of it that you mentioned before, where you met that wall. But this is more of an embodiment that really encompasses and kind of like a nexus for that type of consciousness,
Yeah.
which kind of like which all the guardians really are, but this great guardian is one of those. Like it's called a true Shailian guardian, and so they said they're very far away in the Lyanver forest, but I think we can get you there. We just have to do like a ritual, and then eventually, like so they.
But before we left, I remember Krogal offered us some of his blood if we couldn't find Darkor. So like that's our ripcord. Worst case, we go back there and try it with his blood. It may or may not work. We don't know.
Said he's still a pack leader, but he's nowhere near like the
Yeah.
alpha that that Darkor is. So eventually, they do a ritual. They set up like a bone tree. They they respectfully hunt an elk, and they do this whole thing, and they split open like a portal in a tree, and you guys pass through it and end up in the Lionbeard Forest. Immediately, half a second after you guys come out, Krogal is snatched out of the air by this massive true Shailian guardian and shoved back through the portal in the tree. Just in a second, and you can see this thing has like a stream coming down from its body.
It's like 3 or 4 times the size of the other thing that we fought.
Yeah, it's huge. It's fucking massive. 3 or 4 times the size of the other guardian that you fought. And you so notice that in parts of the stream there's tiny little pieces of black resin, and you're like, fuck, this thing is corrupted.
We didn't think it was corrupted, or at least I didn't. I thought it was like it had started, but it wasn't like fully
Right.
corrupted, because the
It's
other one was like very much
some sort of, however,
wandering around in pain.
right, some magnitude, however small, may have been present, is what like you're figuring out. So,
We tried to talk to it.
I
tried
jumped
to talk
straight
to
to
him.
my Maeve's go-to of
Diplomacy.
diplomacy.
yeah, so you guys use Sylvan and some spellcraft to try to disable this thing and appeal to its better nature, and you do for a bit, for a very, very limited amount of time. It has facility over its own, or it has control over its own faculties and can control its mind. And
Like, stopped
although
its arm from punching us.
yeah, you severed its arm, and it was grabbing another arm. So, though the Guardian knows of no cure for itself or the corruption in general, both Darkor and potentially the answer for how the Ichor was sealed in the past both lie in the north, somewhere near Tom Tala and the what's the forest up there? Oh my goodness! Pull up my
So
map.
isn't the map somewhere on the walls?
This one's it's on that one actually, right? No, it's this one. This one should probably go up now. But it's been.
Discovered.
So yeah, somewhere.
It's in the north, south, just south of Flamewood, up in that corner there.
Shailene Shald.
The Shaylin Shawl.
Shade and Shald. For, yeah. Yes, so somewhere between
Oscar's not good with these
Tom
French names.
Talah and the Shaden Shald. No, that's not what I wanted. There it is. Yeah, the Shaden Shald. So now you know where to go. You Maeve enkindles a sense of familiarity, and the Guardian speaks a name as like the wind moves through the area, and then just the name on the wind just goes Oriolor, as it recognizes you
Yes.
and your family name and your blood, meaning that your blood is probably very, very, very old. Overwhelmed by the darkness, the manifestation of the creature charges, trailing a wake of primordial destruction behind it as you run. Kasiksi infiltrates the creature's interior, and the rest do what you can to slow its pursuit. The frantic chase pushes the gang to their limit, during which Zephyr and Osfer reach the edge of the Guardian's boundary, and a pang of hopeless setting in as you see a massive, like, Grand Canyon-style chasm before you. And, maybe 100, 200 feet size of the gap. There's, where are you going to go?
It's fine. I got slow fall.
He's okay. He's got slow fall.
I had like 1 HP.
Eventually,
I was not
Zephyr
slow
just
falling
says
my way out of that.
Zephyr feels like something's wrong, something's weird, and he just jumps for it and realizes that the thing was an illusion, and it's just a little creek that's no more than 10 feet wide. And you almost make it, but you teleport back, and you try again, and you tell the rest of them, just jump for it, just go for it, don't be scared.
Don't be scared.
And you guys eventually do, and you do escape them. They do not pursue you past this creek, but they do keep chucking boulders at you, and you guys get hit by a bunch of boulders. Eventually, you are all of you are eventually left on death's door as you try to help lift each other up and survive, and you eventually find your way out of range of this massive Shalian Guardian.
Yeah, it just became this ridiculous circle of healing each other.
It was like,
And going down,
it was
yeah.
like
Yes.
make a dex check and also heal. And
Yeah.
it was like, I failed my dex check. You drop, but you managed to up someone.
Yeah, it
Okay,
was,
whoever you made up, make a dex check. You failed, but you managed to up someone.
Yeah, it was a little ridiculous. The rolls for that session were abysmal.
Hey, man.
Not
Hey,
good.
being a healer is hard.
Yeah.
I
think
deserve
that's
some
just-
respect.
Like a running theme with our group is that we
gonna
roll
cry.
really well with absolute bullshit.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Just
Like combat, it's ones,
stupid.
2s, and 3s.
Yeah,
it's like
pretty
it's
bad.
like animal handling, 20.
Just like the
25.
chocolate squirrel.
Oh, yeah.
In battle, 3.
Wait,
Animal
was that-
handling.
Does it,
Was
does
that
it
when we
10,
first got
does
the
it 10
mushrooms?
hit?
Oh, I think that is when we got some mushrooms, yeah.
Yeah, we took mushrooms and we're gonna make healing potions, so we're not just like stuck with.
Yeah, they're mushrooms that can either become healing potions or like powerful
psychotropics.
psychedelics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like a moment
And
in
Osfer's kind of like made it his mission to collect as many of these mushrooms as possible that you find.
there was
without
like a
Shalian
moment
cradle.
in that
Oh,
fight
yeah.
where Zephyr was like, "Should I just trip right now?"
Oh,
scoot forward just a little bit.
and if I recall, like at the end of that, because they had said my character's name, I was like, okay, everyone, so like my name is Meverin Oriolor. It recognized me, at which point,
Len,
We find curiously we share the same surname.
to this point, I had no idea.
Yeah, and Maeve had forgotten completely that she's the one that almost shot Len's ear off
It happened!
in the past
Childhood.
because he
it
wasn't
happen?
important enough to remember.
Does it happen?
I mean, he's important now that he's helping me.
Wow.
Yikes.
So yeah, some expositions revealed that Len was kind of one of like the bastard children, a half-elfin individual that was born through the Oriolor family, and just kind of like your mother was kind of shunned and shamed from it because of it, but you were still part of the Oriolor, so you're still allowed to live there, but like people knew of you, but they tried to forget you, kind of thing.
or they just shot you in the ear with arrows.
And then
It
yeah, or just
happens.
Used you for target practice.
Does it happen?
Casually.
You know, sometimes you're just like doing some target practice and like a little baby child like just kind of wanders in the way.
You're like double bullseye.
Yeah, it's not my fault.
Double points.
It's not my fault
Nice.
that you got in front of the targets.
It happens sometimes.
Yes, it is. That's range safety number
Where
101.
was this
man.
child's mother?
That's
Which
your
is
mother
true.
was wallowing in her own self pity in her room.
Oh no.
So that happened. You though beaten and broken, you determine you press on northwards to try to find Darkor. As you now realize that you're somewhere north of the Lionver Forest, or at least on the outskirts of it. You then stop to take a quick rest and recuperate. It is deduced by some members of the party that Len has not aged normally, and you kind of keep it to yourself.
We've also seen
Given
him
the
avoid
fact that he
sunlight.
was in the house, given that he is a half elven individual, and he was in the estate with this high elven individual at the same time, he should be much older than he is, but he's not.
Not to mention walking vertically up the side of multiple
Yeah.
surfaces.
Like
And
just straight,
walk
like
up trees.
body
drinking.
out straight, just walking.
Occasionally drinking blood.
Not even Spider-Man climbing. just
Something's
fully
a
walking.
little off with him.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
So
He might be a Scorpio.
So after a quick break, you guys continue on, eventually finding a campfire with a wagon full of food and other necessities. Within the campfire was a singed and burned book, as well as eggshells depicting like tempera paintings of human suffering. You take the wagon and the book and make to leave, as some feel you are being watched and followed, and as Maeve and Stern comb through the book to try to learn more, but it seems too burnt to find anything too much of meaning. What does seem to depict some sort of experiments and phrases with rip and tear within them multiple times. Zephyr hears you guys talking about it. It's like, throw the book away. Let's fucking leave here.
I like snatch it out of your guys' hands.
Threw in
And
the
I
fire.
just,
And we're
I
like,
just
"Oh,
chuck
okay."
it.
Yeah, and
I'm
you
like,
say we need to
have
haul ass the
leave.
fuck out of here. Len, you notice that there's something that might be following or coming near you, and you tell everybody to leave, and you leave the wagon and you just book it out of there. Eventually
Scarecrow
finding
monsters
the
that don't
road.
smell like anything.
No, Osford. Remember, you guys didn't smell anything.
Yeah.
Because whatever it was didn't have like the scent of a living creature.
They kept like getting snagged on brambles and stuff. This weird shambling.
Yeah,
shuffling.
it sounded like the tearing of fabric.
They're scarecrows.
Would you say gross?
They're scarecrows. You'll never.
They're
convince me they're not.
scarecrows. Cool. So you guys rest, and you find in the morning that Zephyr
We didn't
is
take the
missing.
cart. That would have been super
Yeah.
useful.
And he left a note saying, I am sorry to leave like this in the night, but I cannot stand by while someone who hurt me is still out there. Thank you for being my friends. And then he peaced out.
Yep. Snuck right past me.
So
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. Our sleeping arrangements every time was always like, high elf, some kind of water elf thing.
Water elf.
we
it's
split.
always great when you
Because
go
you're
end
elf, so
someone's
you,
race
you only
with
have to
flying.
trance, so you just both stay up for 4 hours and you just go back and forth, and then everybody's okay.
Yeah. Maeve just, prestidigitate some like white noise.
Imagine having
Thanks.
a whole party of elves. You guys would only ever have to long rest for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
It would be so much more fashionable.
It's so much more fashionable. Yes, a group of
yes.
fashionistas.
But we sort of deduced that whatever we ran into had something to do with your past.
Yes.
That's true. So,
True Sherlock Holmes over
after
here.
a morning of solitude and despair, you guys take off again, eventually encountering a small goblin with a book made of hide. This turns out to be the young wizard Pip, along with your trusty familiar Pickleball, who is an armadillo.
Yeah.
After exchanging greetings and getting to know each other, Pip joins the party, and you guys continue on once more. Stern sees a patch of mushrooms and hears some melodic sound of music, and then just disappears into the forest. And he has no choice but to follow the music, unbeknownst to the rest of the party. After realizing Stern is gone, yes?
At what point did we find the road and figure out?
You found the road
Whenever we
like the
found
next
Pip was
on the road.
after Zephyr left that morning. You
Yeah,
found
pretty
it
much.
like it was like a couple hours
Yeah,
after
like,
you
yeah.
woke up that morning.
Yeah,
came
you
on the-
found Pip on the road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like when you found the road is when Pip showed up.
Yeah,
like you
Pip
found the
was,
road
like,
and
on
looked down
the
the road
road.
and you're like, "What the fuck is that thing?"
And Pip was like,
"Hi." Yeah,
I like to
this
think of Pip
child?
as like the dog you found on your vacation who just like won't leave you alone.
like you came out one side of the road and Pip came out the other side of the road.
That's a good analogy.
yeah.
He's coming home with us, Mom.
Yeah, like
So you guys exchange greetings. So Stern ends up in the forest, listening to this music. You guys try to find him, but a bunch of you
Well,
fall.
we see that we're walking along the road.
Yeah.
We see two backpacks.
Yes.
Like in the middle of the road, and we start like investigating it, and then realize that Stern is no longer with us.
Yes.
So,
And then you guys tried to figure out, see
Yeah.
where he went, and then a bunch of you fall prey to this enticing, enchanting melody. Yes, thank you. Shut up. I'm just kidding.
You were searching for a word.
I was. I'm just
helping
messing with
out.
you. So, and then eventually, a bunch of you fall prey to this. This melody, but Pip does not, and Pip moves through the forest and sees this satyr playing a pan flute with two very exhausted but like grin-faced female humans dancing along in this like clearing, and Pip's like, what the fuck is this guy doing? You eventually realize that like his song is causing you guys to like dance irresistibly, and so you try to attack him and you keep missing, and it doesn't really work out. Osfer comes out of it and starts being like, Maeve, snap out of it, and just starts beating up Maeve to try to snap her out of it.
so we tied up Len.
Yep.
Bast sat on him, and then
Maeve started dancing.
Maeve started dancing. So I tackled Maeve and
Punched
Pip,
me.
Yeah, well, Pip was off with the satyr, and so was Stern.
Yeah,
so I'm
Stern
left.
was straight up dancing.
I was straight up dancing.
I shoved
was vibing.
earplugs in my ears, and I think your ears as well, but it didn't work. So I was like, the only thing I know how to snap people out of this. You shot Stern.
Yeah, I just
And-
want to bring
Yeah.
up that Maeve did
Yeah.
shoot me. That is facts. Let the record show that Maeve did indeed shoot me.
So
As a stenographer,
I was like, physical damage is the only
For
thing
the
that can
record.
like
Official
snap
correct.
anyone out of this.
Yes, but you're a monk, and your punches do a lot
Yeah,
of damage.
it's really hard to hold back as a monk.
That's the only time I've rolled max damage on like 3 unarmed strikes in a row. It was awesome in that
terrible.
moment, but it felt pretty
so-
bad.
Eventually,
you're like, oh, nice, max damage.
yeah.
And you're like, oh,
wait.
I
no.
was like, oh crap.
you fire some firebolts at the satyr and spook him and cause him to like run away but continue to play. But eventually he is disarmed and tied up with the aid of some friends here and interrogated, and the women collapse and some of you snap out of it, and you interrogate them about like how and you learn some information about the origins of Malar the Beast Lord. And after being beaten to a pulp and going unconscious and getting healed back to be beat up again,
I would like to take full credit for that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no regrets.
Thank you. 100%.
this guy, like, he specifically said he's not big on consent,
Yes.
and he wants the females of the group to smile more.
Yeah.
So you knocked
Every
him the
time.
fuck out, righteously so. And
Every time we tried to give him an out, he just said something more horrendous.
yeah,
You're not helping your case, but
yeah, and so you knock him out and you gag him, and
I
you
just didn't want to hear him talk anymore.
so you carry him with you, thinking that you could probably get because
He admitted to going to the crossroads town and also making people dance against their will there.
Yeah,
So we're
yeah.
thinking that.
so you think you could get bounty off him. So you
yeah.
take him with you as well as you carry these women with you.
Let justice
Great.
be served.
That brings us to the recap of which I'm going to do for this coming game, because we did do one more game, but I'm going to do the recap of it for our. We're going to call episode 1 of campaign 3. And we'll give it a name once everybody we have a group name, and so yeah, I think that's it for session 0.5. Unless you guys have anything to add that I forgot or missed.
I think that's more or less
Wait.
the gist of it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yes,
I
sure.
feel like we left off farther. Did we not?
The recap that I'm about to do is going to
Oh,
pick up
yeah.
because
Oh,
you
duh.
end up at Quasmont at the
My
end
brain
of it.
was like,
Yeah.
hold on.
Because stuff happened with Pixies and all that jazz. But we're
Oh,
gonna,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that as part of the beginning of
I was
the,
like,
of
what
the first
happened?
episode. Make sense?
I don't remember anything.
yeah.
So
Same.
I wrote it down.
yes, yeah. So
yeah.
we'll do that. I believe there were some scenes where Stern had some like celestial moments where he felt like he was falling from the sky again, and he almost like he did.
Yeah, there were
And he became like a
periodic.
moon druid.
There were periodic scenes where,
Back
like,
in the shack.
back in the shack, where like I had like I don't dream, but I have these like weird like visions like while I'm sleeping, where it's like
Sounds a lot like dreaming.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
no, that's the only
described
time.
dreaming.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It's
I'm
like-
the one that forced the visions.
it's like
upon
not
you, so-
dreams.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm trying to remember what happened in those visions. It was just like
You had like seen visions of like your family members.
yeah.
And then you fell from the sky again, and Maeve actually heard you actually fall into like the bed. And
Oh yeah, and I
Jack-
woke up covered in sweat and I ran out.
Yeah, and you ran out, and that's when you got your like moon druid abilities, like as you like kind of like became a like floating nebula,
Yeah.
of stars. My God, it's full of stars. 2001: Space Odyssey for you.
Insane quote.
Yeah.
Great
Drink
quote.
whatever you like. Everything is entirely fair game. Len is already a hunter. Bass got his familiar. Goblin Pip is an abjuration wizard. Maeve became more attuned with her powers and like can now put her natural like high elven magics into her bow to do arcane shots. She's an arcane archer, and Aster just worked the fucking hell out of his weapons until he could infuse his monk powers into his weapons. Kind of like
Got a longsword
remembering his training from the temple. Way back, you're from the Wanalate Temple, I believe was
I am, yeah.
what we shared. Part of the Open Hoof. And you are on your pilgrimage
Yeah.
at the moment. And because you've
Searching
been
out
sent to...
the primordial.
Yeah, you've been sent to find more information about the primordial stuff and possibly seek out one of the other temples.
Yeah,
And you
which
have-
we learned is not too far from here.
which
Well,
is not too. I mean,
too far.
A couple hundred miles, but
Yeah.
yeah, but in the same region.
Yeah,
yes. So yes, great. I think that's it, guys. And does anything have anybody else to add?
Have you ever asked me about Istishia? I don't think you have.
Have I? No.
Okay.
I remember. Well, we had a whole conversation when you had that cursed idol. And you're like, I need it for the sea. I think that was
Yeah, because
closest we got.
you had mentioned, Bast had mentioned that his goal was to try to figure out why this corruption is seeping
I've-
into the ocean from the land
I've essentially been hired by the ocean
by your patron.
to figure out what this corruption is that's seeping through the rivers and streams into it. And try to stop it.
I know you sleep in troughs.
I try to spend as much time in water as I possibly can. Because that's...
Remember, we
Maybe
got a
we
lot of
should
looks
just,
and
what I'm
Morel
used to.
about that.
Maybe we should just start carrying a bucket of water with us wherever we go and just
Maybe
dump
just-
it on your head if you're not going to do it.
Well,
Just
I
a
know
bucket,
you'll
'cause
get
you can create water.
I have created.
Oh, you have it? Oh, okay.
That's
We
that's
should
how
just-
I've been making it, like,
Why don't we
rain
just
on
Right,
myself.
right, yeah.
Why don't
But,
we
like-
just carry a bucket? We just have like a backpack that has a trough
I
in
need
it.
like a water-treated canvas or something that like folds into
Yeah,
a
like
little
just like a
tub.
full like one of those like
I have tidal wave and wall of water.
We should get you that thing like in SpongeBob how they wear like the things on their head.
Yeah.
Sandy's astronaut suit.
Yeah.
no like like when they go
No, like
in-
whenever they go in.
to
Oh, yeah,
things,
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need it.
I don't need it. Take it out. I need it.
Okay, so on that note, I think we're done with everything that happened so far in the campaign, except for the recap of last session, which we will cover in our first episode. So go ahead, head on over and watch us play. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. Bye.
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 Bye.